Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dark Roast. I'm Dawna Stroll, and I'm here with the lovely and talented Rose Short. And today's topic is about how to create evergreen content that will continue to pay you over time. This is the whole earn money while you sleep portion of online marketing. So
Yes, the passive part that we all want and talk about, but forget about the building it up part.
well, it's easy to sell it if you don't have to talk about the actual work involved. So,
It's true.
um, so that is sort of what we're going to be on about today. We're going to start with what is evergreen content. So basically that's the content that stays relevant and valuable, after it's published. So once you've posted that blog post or you've pinned that serious post that you have, or you did your podcast, or you did your YouTube video or whatever, that's the thing that's going to stay online. It's not time sensitive. It's not going to scroll away. And that's what it is, right? It's also not going to be trend based specifically. I mean, long-term trend maybe, but generally speaking, it's not going to be chasing after trends either. It's going to be something like how-to guides or FAQs or a tutorial, maybe some reviews, things like that. Listicles is another one. Resource roundups, pillar blog posts, glossary pages. These are all things that you can do, even if you're using Pinterest, some pins or a YouTube video. These are all the things that fall into that evergreen content, because it's not one and done. It's not something that you have to keep pushing and pushing up. So it's really helpful, especially with, online marketing, because it allows you to put in some well-placed links, to talk about your content or your product or your service, and have it consistently be there for people to find in the search engines. So a simple thing, a tip idea is, if you can't imagine someone needing this information or whatever it is that you put together a year from now, it's probably not evergreen. This is something that you want the long haul.
I like that.
Yeah.
So evergreen content is a total boss move for many reasons, right? It saves time and energy. You create it once, you're done. It works for you 24/7. You can recreate it in different ways, different creatives, different blogs. You can do an updated blog post and refer back to the original post. There's lots of different ways. Just because it's evergreen doesn't mean that you can't post it again, but you can post back to it, which is super, super helpful. And then long-term SEO, right? Like your posts, your hashtags, all those kind of things will kind of come and go depending on what the subject matter is about. But if you're consistently talking about the same keywords and things like that, your evergreen content is just going to get stronger as that grows. And the more it gets seen, obviously the more SEO is going to get stronger as well, because Google's going to recognize that like people are reading this and people keep going back to it. Especially like if there's backlinks going to it, or if you just have constant traffic to your blog, constantly getting new followers, stuff like that, and that's your pinned post or something like that, it's going to definitely get pushed in the algorithms. You can use various ways to monetize, obviously, right? So you have your affiliate links, maybe you have your ad that goes to it, maybe there's a lead magnet attached to that. There's all kinds of ways that your evergreen content can help you with your monetization, especially if it's a like a free how-to guide or something like you were just talking about, Dawna. That's a great way to get people to download it and then possibly sign up, get on your email list, and start getting the drip campaigns and stuff like that. And it's conversion friendly, right? We talk about all the time, give information, don't just give the sales. So it builds your trust. And it keeps you relevant as long as you are, not jumping from that topic a lot, as long as your other content is still jiving with your evergreen content. And that makes it more likely that your audience is going to buy from you, especially if they get on your email list.
Yeah.
Which is super, super powerful.
So, I mean, yeah, like businesses that blog regularly, especially with evergreen content, get 55% more website visitors. And what is it, 67% more leads than those who don't. And that's from HubSpot. And that their whole business is about, you know, managing and updating, getting those sales. So that's pretty impressive. Like, and I think it's because, like you say, if all your content is about whatever it is that you're trying to put out there, you know, and it's consistent in terms of its tone and what you're talking about, it's going to help lead back. And you'll see a lot of times, especially in professional blogs, they'll have links back to older posts. You should always do that, by the way. If you're going to be blogging at all, you definitely want to link back to posts that might be relevant, or, you know, click into, like, maybe you take a section of it and then you can click back to say, here's a, you know, that post. It's a great way to do that. And you'll find that, yeah, like you say, it does end up building up on Google. Like, I have a post, one of my blog posts is crazy. For whatever reason, Google picked it up. And so it continually gets people in this particular blog post. So that I haven't done anything with it in over a year. And I still get clicks on it, right? Which means that the opportunity to put your thing in front of other people, you get your links in front of other people, is constantly there, and you didn't have to do anything with it. Like, I haven't even looked at that post in a while, and I know that it's evergreen. I know that it's not really going to change, at least probably for another 2 years, and then I'll have to go in and update because there'll be some new tips or tricks or skills or something like that. But other than that, yeah, not a lot of work.
Love it.
So the 80-20 rule, we've talked about this before. This is where, you know, 80% of your traffic will likely come from 20% of your content. And that 20% is most likely going to be evergreen content. It's going to be something that they see. It's going to be that pinned post that you have, or that pinned reel that you've got on TikTok or Instagram, right? So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be your blog post or your YouTube, you know, your video, or a pin post that really, you know, stands out. So that's where you're going to get the majority of your traffic, because they're going to hit that, see that, and then they're going to go and check out whatever else you have, or they're going to go check out your link, that sort of thing. So,
Love it.
and this is when you're great at
Repurposing.
yeah.
Yes, I love repurposing just because it's so much easier. I literally use a software called Repurpose, so it is fantastic, and it's a great way to do a one and done. Right now, I know there are some people who, like, they do enjoy going in and making sure the captions are specific to the different platforms and whatnot. That's not me. That's just not where my focus is. That's not where I want my focus to be. So I use Repurpose, but you can repurpose a single blog into a video, into a series of mini videos, you know, reels, things like that. What is it? Carousels, quote graphics, all kinds of things, right? Even email series. So, so many times people are like, well, I gotta make a video, and then I gotta do a blog post, I gotta figure out an email to send, and then I gotta do the, and it's like, okay, but like, you can do one, and then, you know, that blog post is now your script, is now your email, you know, summarize it, link to the blog in the email. Like, it doesn't have to be super complicated. So repurposing is just an easy way to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache.
Absolutely. And, you know, Google loves it when you refresh something that's old. You know, updating a 2-year-old evergreen post with some new information, some new links or whatever, can shoot it back to the top of the search results, because now it's got some revived energy. So say you were at the top and it starts to drop, and you go in and you just tidy it up a bit, or add a little bit more splash, or maybe you found something else that's better, so you can update that link, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're back at the top, and you didn't have to rewrite the whole thing. You didn't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. All you had to do was change a couple of spokes. So, I mean, that's huge, right?
Yeah. And it's super easy to get started, right? So pick a topic that's going to stand the test of time. Right now, not every topic's going to stand the test of time for 5, 10, 15 years. But think about what people always need in your niche, right? The problem that people are always having that you can solve. And then use Google Trends to make sure it's not just what's trending now. Make sure it's something that's been searched beyond just like the 6 months, something like that. And you can do it where you change it yearly too, right? So like we see this on YouTube a lot, where it's the keyword is like how to start affiliate blog in 2024, and then it becomes in 2025 and 2026, right? Like if you're just changing the year, it's kind of the same thing. People are still interested in affiliate marketing, especially with the way the job market and everything is going right now. Like I've had 4 people this week reach out to me and say, "Hey, I know you make money online. Like, what are my options?" So people want to escape the system. Like our current system is broken. Period.
Yeah.
Point blank. End of story. And it's broken for everyone except for the high ultra rich. Like let's just be flat out honest. And so people are learning they can escape that system, right? And that's going to be something popular for a while here in the US, I think,
Yep.
in my opinion, because it's been popular for the last 10, 15 years as the internet and everything has evolved. So, but then like beginner's guides to learning SEO or beginner's guides to learning funnels, right? Funnels, SEO are still relevant. And again, they've been relevant for 15, 20 years. Tools every self-published author should know, right? This one's huge because anybody can publish a book now. So it's super, super important you know how to get that book in front of people. And again, that's going to be something that people are still going to be asking probably 5, 10 years from now.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, there are things having that publishing background, and you see a lot of self-published work. You can see who's doing it well and who's doing it not, because of the tools that they're using, the people that they're utilizing, and understanding where they can bring it home and where they absolutely do need to have some additional support. And like, 'cause you can do a lot of stuff yourself, but you might need a little bit of help here and there. And so having that information, and that doesn't change. Where you sell it might change, right? And maybe the latest social media platform might change, but the basics don't change. So it's the same with your funnels and whatnot, right? Whether you're a brick and mortar or you are online completely 100% digital, you're still going to need funnels, like, and a website and all those things, and emails and all those things don't change. So those are great ways to utilize that evergreen. So, and then you want to, my favorite, do your research. All right, so you want to use tools like Answer the Public or Ubersuggest or Keywords Everywhere, because you want to look for what your competition is. You want something that's going to have medium competition, a high search volume, and long tail keywords, which is, how do I do this? Or, does this cause that? Those are your long-term keywords, not just affiliate marketing. That's not how do I make money online? That's a long-term keyword, but a long tail keyword, but you're going to want to maybe figure it a little bit tighter, the simple one, moms, right? But what about single dads? Because there are single dads, right? So maybe that's where you find your very specific keywords, because now that's a different sector, and it's very different marketing than for single moms or stay-at-home moms or whatever, right? So you want to, how do I set up a Shopify for homemade goods, or how do I build my Etsy account, or those kinds of things, if that's where your skill set is.
Love it. And then keep it simple. I talk about this all the time, right? Your content should be scannable, meaning like somebody can just scan through it real fast and get the gist of it. So headers, bullets, images, bullet points, images, stuff like that, right? Most people have a very short attention span and get overwhelmed very quickly if your theme's a giant paragraph. Like even with emails, that's true. So you want to keep it short and sweet, or at least break it up to where the brain goes, okay, this is broken down into different information, so like it's not information overload. Yeah. And then it should be actionable, right? So it should be simple steps or checklists, something that can be done in 5-10 minutes a day kind of thing, not something that's, you're not helping somebody with their 10-year plan on this. You're helping them with like how to get through the day and be productive. And then updatable, right? Again, leave room to update it as tools and trends shift.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for popping by. Sorry, I'm just seeing that. Absolutely. And so you also want to be adding your monetization like pretty much from day one. So if you're creating evergreen content, you want to make sure you've got your affiliate links or tools that you love and, being able to slide those in or services that you use. Create a lead magnet. Now, you can have an evergreen post, so like a blog post. The reason I go back to blogs is because they're so easy to repurpose into everything else, right? That's why I say like a blog post, and then everything you can do your mini posts, your reels, and everything can be pulled from this one piece. So you can send people to your freebies, your link, your lead magnets, and that sort of thing from that kind of a blog post. You can do it from YouTube as well. Pretty much anywhere that you're going to have evergreen. But a link to your lead magnet, which will then get them into your email situation and everything else. And you want to have a call to action on it, especially if it's an evergreen post. You want to make sure it's a call to action to your services or your products, whether it's physical, digital, it doesn't really matter. You want to make sure that you do have a call to action in there to at least check it out.
Yeah.
Because it's not like social media posts where you want to mix it up, right? You want to make sure that you have it so that it's not 100% selling. Evergreen's going to be around for a long time. You're going to set it and forget it in a lot of ways. So you want to make sure you have those call to actions. You want to make sure that you do have your monetization links in there so that people can access that without you having to push that thing, right? So
Yeah. And even though it's evergreen, you still want to promote the crap out of it, right? You still want to make sure that you have a rotation going on, you have a newsletter or a social media queue, or, make 15 different videos that point back to it and talk about it and are relevant to it that then can be put into your scheduling rotation, or just be on your phone to, oh, I don't have anything to post today. Screw it. Let me post this real fast. And don't be afraid to use the same video. Just put a different, sound behind it or something like that. Like, there are accounts out there that basically every video is the same because the message never changes, and they do very well. So,
yeah.
Don't think we like repetitiveness, and we need to be told the same information over and over again to get it into our brains. So it's totally fine to do that. And then make sure you're embedding links into the new content you publish as well. Or again, referring back to that evergreen content if it's relevant to what you're talking about. With your link tree and things like that, and within Canva, you can start create a start here or best of kind of catalog that we've talked about before. That should include those kind of evergreen content themes as well. And then you can do that on a website too. So there's lots of different ways to utilize and point back to that evergreen content.
Yeah, and even for your socials, if you wanted to, you could pin it as a post. Mm-hmm. Pin it as a post. So here's your evergreen, your pinned post, which then leads them to something else that's, a permanent thing. So there's ways to do it without, you're promoting it, but it's not like you're saying, just read my blog or watch my YouTube. Yes, you are, but at the same time, you have other information and just say, you might find this helpful, right? Yeah. As an add-on. And then, of course, always, like with everything that you do, track and optimize, right? You want to make sure that you're seeing what's ranking, what's converting. You want to you might have to make some tweaks, improve your headline, check your meta descriptions, especially if you're doing blogs or, that kind of thing, or it's on your website. These are areas where you're going to want to check that kind of stuff. Make sure that your CTAs are still relevant. Like if your links have been adjusted, you got to make sure that you go in and update that information as well, because we do move on. Things do change. Things come in and out of, maybe you really liked a particular system or service that you were using, and then they either went out of business or they changed their business platform, or you found something that just works better or is cheaper and does the same job. Then you'll want to be able to update those links and update that information. So
for sure.
All right. So there are some things that you want to focus on for your maximum longevity. The longer it can stay up, the more work it's doing for you for one-offs, right? So SEO friendly formatting, headers, alternative tags, meta descriptions, um, all that stuff is can be dull, but it's super important. Again, it's going to help you get the results because SEO, whether it's a small post or it's a great big huge 2 hour YouTube or whatever, that's going to be what gets you in the search engines. And when people are searching for you, those keywords, that kind of thing is all going to matter. So get that information going.
Yep. Love it. And strong internal linking, right? Link from your newer content to evergreen content and vice versa. There's a reason that people who specialize in backlinks make a lot of money, right? Because that's exactly what backlinks do. They get people in front of your content through other content. Or get your content in front of people through other content, I should say. So, linking is every sentence shouldn't have a link. I mean, you can definitely overdo it. But it is a powerful tool that should be used strategically.
Works really well for listicles.
Yeah.
Or reviews where you're doing pros and cons and comparisons. Excellent for those kinds of things. But again, those are ones you're going to have to keep an eye on and go back and update. So just keep that in mind. The other thing that is quality over quantity. Unlike social media where it's quantity, you're posting 3 times a day, you want to rip your hair out. For Evergreen, it's about quality. It's about putting together a quality post or video or whatever it is that you're doing so that it's really well made. It really reaches out to people. It provides a lot of value, provides a lot of information. And then that way, because those other things are going to scroll through and they're going to be out of your memory. You might save that video and then forget that you saved it. And it's like, meh, whatever. Right. Whereas Evergreen is something that people will actually put on their watch later list or read. They'll download it or they'll bookmark it so that they can go back and look at it again. That's why quality trumps quantity, especially for evergreen content.
Yeah. And then this is where being really organized and OCD comes in handy, right? Because you're going to want to schedule to check in every 6 to 12 months just to make sure that your content is updated. And a really easy way to do that is, an Excel spreadsheet. I love Excel. Like I love spreadsheets. They are my jam. Link to the post or the video or whatever, put in there what programs you're promoting or what, themes you're promoting, put your links in there. And then it's really, really easy to go back and be like, oh, you know what? This program I don't talk about anymore because maybe I fell out with the people that did it. Maybe they did something I didn't like, whatever. And then you can really easily be like, click the link, which will take you to the piece of content and swap that out. Most people are not going to be that organized in the beginning. And most people want to rip their hair out if they are doing that because it is tedious. But it can make those rechecks a lot easier.
Yeah. And you can use Google Sheets, pardon me. You can do a Word document if that's easier for you. Same thing. You can just do title and, the link to the post and just a date. And so that you just know to go back and check it. You can set it up on your calendar if you really want to, little alarms like every once a month. Check your blogs. However it's going to work for you. That's just, you do want to go back and check to make sure that it is updated because like we said, things change, right? And also, as we mentioned before, updating can put you back in the search engine and move that back up again. So it's another reason why you might want to just do a simple little refresh. So a little practical takeaway, if it's something that you're interested in, a little, say, evergreen content challenge for yourself. So one thing you could do is pick one question that your audience, that your particular people always ask, or something that they're always noting as a concern of theirs, and then create a blog post or a podcast or a pinned like a post, that a social media post that you pin, or maybe a video, whatever, answering that problem or solving that, talking about that issue with them. And then add one of your affiliate links, something that really ties into that, obviously, or whether it's a download or it's an actual directly to your affiliate link or whatever. And then schedule a little promo for a cycle for yourself for the next 3 months, where you're going to keep pulling people back into that in various different ways, and then see how that goes. Because the next thing you know, now you're in the passive income game, because now you're putting them back to that evergreen. You're helping boost it, all those things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really quick one to try, and you lose nothing by doing it. So,
yeah,
you're marketing anyways. Why not, right?
Right.
So, that is all that is for today. The basic gist of this is you're supposed to work smarter, not harder, right? Because, the social media wheel can get very exhausting. So put some of that evergreen out there, and take some of that weight off of your shoulders. Um, you know, if you find that this is useful, obviously let us know, because, we like to know when things are doing well.
Yes.
And just remember, you start with one post, right? It doesn't have to be 5,000 things. One thing, right?
And you're going to get a lot farther by just starting now than by waiting until it's perfect.
True. I mean, we always say start where you are.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. So, what are we talking about next week, lady?
We are kind of following the same line of reasoning, and we're going to talk about how to optimize blog posts for affiliate links, but without sacrificing your reader trust. So, great for someone starting out, but also great for somebody who already has a blog and maybe wants to start adding those monetization routes.
And I know that we did talk about this recently, but we'll try and see if we can maybe spice it up really with what we just talked about in terms of evergreen content. All right. I think that's it. And that's all. If you found this helpful, please drop a comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Your feedback is super helpful in growing this channel.
And of course, if you have any questions or if there's any specific thing that you would like us to talk about, drop that in the comments too. Happy Friday!
Happy